going on, trading card game players? Figs here with Figs Forum, bringing you a deck profile. I just got done playing at an OTS championship for the 2022-2023 invite for Nationals, and I was able to actually take first place with Phantom Knight Brave, Phantom Knight Adventure. Definitely, obviously, a deck that I'm very accustomed to, a deck that I play very regularly, a deck that I showcase on my channel all the time. I've had great success in testing. I found a very consistent build that worked really well for me at the event. I played actually pretty much all meta. I played against Despia twice. I played against ABC Therion twice. I played against Punk Adventure twice. I played against Dragon Link. I played against Fluanderies. I did lose the Fluanderies. My buddy just pretty much swamped me. I went first, and he just opened up all the answers. Really good match. And then I also lost to Punk, or not Punk Therion, but ABC Therion. But I was able to squeeze into top cut, and then I was able to go ahead and take it on from there. So, yeah, like I said, deck performed very well. So I wanted to go ahead and showcase the build that I played. I might actually be playing the exact same build or something very similar to it in Nats. Of course, I am going to be playing Phantom Knights and Nationals, but I'm definitely going to be playing something relatively close to this, if not very similar. And then, of course, I won't showcase my side deck, because if I do decide to play this deck, obviously I don't want to give away any clues on when I'm sideboarding for a lot of the meta. But of course, a lot of it's very the same, very generic. There are a few card tech choices that I prefer in the sideboard that work for me, as well as the deck that I'm playing or build. But definitely go ahead and let's check out the list here, and that way you guys can see what I played. So of course, as I said, Phantom Knight Brave, so let's get into it. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the Phantom Knight cards. We'll go ahead and start off with the Stay in Greaves, the 3 Silent Boots, the 3 Torn Scale, the 2 Cloak, and the 1 Ragged Gloves. I feel like this is obviously the generic lineup at the moment. I have considered cutting a Torn 4 Ragged Gloves to play 2-2, because this is not as ideal in opening because of the fact that I am playing the Adventure package. But this obviously is a great card to still open up, because if you don't see the Adventure package, you want to be able to have some kind of way of playing the game. Even him just as a lone card, being able to pitch any other card from your hand allows you to get access to Cloak, which will get you into your Cherubini, which will allow you to play the game. So yeah, I definitely think that playing this at 3 is still the right move. If I was playing the Punk engine and I was playing it for the Chaos Ruler, then I would definitely do a 2-2 swap, just because you do want to see this in the grave, because this becomes anything else in our package here. But yeah, this was the obviously the ideal, very generic lineup for the Phantom Knights. Then I actually played 3 Fogblade and 1 Phantom Knight Wing, and then the 1 spell. I cut Shade. Shade is definitely not a necessary card in this build. It is very nice because everyone is playing Ash, so a lot of times your graph is getting Ash and they're stopping you from going into Bardiche. And if you opened up with any name that's not Torn Scales, you're pretty much able, or Stay in Greaves, and you're able to pretty much extend. It did happen to me a few times, but luckily I was able to have access to another Dark, because I am playing some other Dark extenders just in case that situation did come up. But yeah, so we went with the 3 Fogblade, 1 Wing, and the rank up spell. This one is actually specifically for Ophion. We are playing Ophion in this build. It is a great floodgate for this deck, and especially in the meta. So this spell allows us to go into Ophion. And then I wanted to have 2 names, because it is very detrimental in being able to have 2 different names for traps to use in one turn. Especially in your opening, if you plan on summoning Ophion during your turn, you want to be able to send one of these traps. And in a situation where you had to pitch one of these traps in order to set up your original board, then you want to be able to have access to 2 different names. So we went with those. So that's it for the Phantom Knight lineup. Let's go ahead and start with the extenders. So we've got the 2 Psychics. I went with the 2 Dangers. Yep, Jackalope has definitely made its debut back in the deck. I originally cut it because it's one of those awkward cards that if you've seen the Tsukidoko, I hope that's how you say it. If you've seen this one and then you went ahead and activated this one, there is always the chance that you could discard this and then you wouldn't be able to resolve its effect. I actually did have both in hand at one point, and I just used it while I had a full hand of 6, just to kind of guarantee that I don't hit it. I actually ended up hitting the Tsukidoko, so that was nice, being able to resolve both. But yeah, this is the lineup that we went with. We wanted to have some extenders. Of course, with this, we are also playing the 3 E-Telly. So, of course, we do have access to the 3 E-Telly. And then, of course, we have our BAs as the additional extenders. Yeah, I know I preached a lot of times that I didn't like playing 2 Psychics with 3 E-Telly. But, in testing, it has come up less and less that I'm drawing these 2 and seeing one of these. I did see these 2 at one point, but just didn't see an E-Telly, so it was nice. But I think this is very, very ideal in being able to accelerate our board, because we do unfortunately have to have two different level 3s in order to set up our board, because we're not able to play the deck off of a 1-card play. But of course, that's where the adventure package comes in. Obviously we get a searchable level 3, and then of course we have access to all of these different level 3s that allows us to play the game. So those are our extenders. We'll get into the Brave package, of course. I mean, this is obviously self-explanatory, nothing special or different. We're playing the standard Brave package, 3 right, 1 Draco back, 1 Fearful Adventure, the Wandering Griffin, and the 3 Water Enchantress. We're not playing Illegal Knight. Illegal Knight, for me, has just been a win more card. Generally, we really just want to set up an Omni or have access to a level 3 that special summons, so that we're able to set up our Cherubini and extend it to our Bardiche to set up plays. So this ideally was the best way to play the package. We're not playing any type of accelerated build where we need to play additional numbers on the spells or even the Griffin, because we're not playing any synchros or anything like that. Then we did actually play hand traps. I did convert into playing hand traps. I know I preached a lot with playing gas, but unfortunately this format does require us to have to play hand traps, so I actually went pretty heavy on the hand traps. We've got 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, 3 Nibiru, and then of course we've got the 3 Droplet. So obviously this is more for the going second. As people say, I still enjoy drawing it in the opening because it's a nice card to be able to set that allows you to interrupt your opponent's board. Especially when you have Fog Blade, you can flip a Fog Blade, negate something, and then send the Fog Blade and not lose any value on it. But yeah, we did go with the 3 Nibiru, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. I think this is actually very solid or ideal. You could always cut the Nibiru for an Effect Veiler, but I think this actually was one of the reasons why I won a lot of my games. My opponent not expecting the Nibiru, going first, or when they go first, they're not expecting me to have the Nibiru, so they overextend. I caught a couple players actually with the Nibiru on turn 1, because I think I only won 3 die rolls the entire day, which meant I only made Ophion actually only once, because I barely won any die rolls or went first. But yeah, Nibiru was definitely the MVP, I would say, in hand traps. Also, Imperm was great as well. Being able to have access to Imperm going second is really good because it gives you just more versatility and being able to shut down your opponent's board. A lot of people are ending on Hulk, so you want to be able to have the option to be able to stop the Hulk from activating, whether it's through Droplet or Imperm. And then, of course, the Nibiru just shuts down the entire board in general, while Ash just shuts down the searching ability. So that was the main board. It is 45. I do play it a little heavy just because of the fact that, of course, we are playing a lot of one-ofs that we just don't want to see, despite the fact that I always draw Graf and Sur anyways. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the extra deck. So that was the main deck lineup. Like I said, somewhat generic. Try to keep it very consistent. I don't want to have any special tricks. Usually I like to play like the Speedroy Taki Tomborg with the Terratop. But unfortunately, I feel like it really wasn't necessary. Since we're playing hand traps, we want to make sure that we're playing this as consistent and as ideal as possible, and setting up our boards and making plays. So that was the main deck. So let's go ahead and get into the extra deck. We're playing the Appaloosa. We're playing the Bardiche, of course. That's our, our number 1 guy. We're playing Unicorn. We are playing Access Code. This actually came in clutch, of course, as it always does. I was actually able to make it a 6,300. My opponent ended on the Psychic Punisher, I think it is. The guy that makes him gain attack during your opponent's battle phase. Equal to the difference in life. He had played like an upstart, paid life on like 2 different punk monster effects. And then he had it at like 50 something, 57 I think. So I actually had to make Apple first, and then I went into Access Code to give it 63. I did have access to Cloak as well for his boost, to be able to put him up any higher if I needed to. But yeah, I had to make a 6,300 attack Apple just to get over it, or Access Code just to get over it. And then of course we have the best card in the deck, which is the Cherubini. And this card is just obviously amazing. It does everything it needs to for this deck. It gives us access to every single card we want to see. So that's the link lineup. I have Time Thief. That's one of our end board cards. 2 of the Phantom Knight Breaksword, the Ophion, the 2 Levier, the Utopic Future, Downard, and Zeus. So this is the lineup that we played. Definitely very nice. Obviously, Ophion was the goal in our end build because we wanted to have access to a Floodgate. It was really nice to have access to this Floodgate because it just did so much and it was able to allow us to be able to shut out our opponent. It's a great card in the format right now. It shuts out every deck in the format, allows you to be able to stop your opponent from special summoning synchros, fusions. We do try to put it up on the board as early as possible, especially in the Despia matchup, of course, because we want to be able to stop them from super piling anything that's on the board. So generally, we like to put this on the board during our turn, just so that, we've got it on the board. Your opponent can't summon any Tenyis other than Hara. It makes it difficult for them to play the game in that sense. Same thing with fusions, and synchros. So this is the lineup. Time Redoer can definitely be swapped out for IP Masquerena, although I enjoyed it a lot just because you're able to sometimes randomly grab a trap and it'd be actually detrimental. You can grab a spell, get an extra card to draw, and also he leaves the board and comes back, so he's always a body that you'll have on the next turn. Otherwise, yeah, this all played out very well. I think the extra deck was great, and like I said, Ophion definitely did what it needed to. And as I said, I won't share the side deck. The side deck is definitely something that I want to keep under wraps just because Nats is right around the corner. But I wanted to share this build with you guys because I was able to take first place with it. And as I said, it performed very well. I don't think there's really any changes that I could make. As I said, the Time Redoer was probably about the only one that I would actually swap out. Otherwise, I wouldn't change anything else. The main board was pretty solid. As I said, the only things I could possibly even consider changing was possibly just the torn scale for another gloves, but I don't think that's necessary in this build in particular because we really want to see the gloves for our turn one play. We don't want to start with it, we want to end with it because it sends us a trap to be able to revive the break sword to use the spell during our turn, the rank up spell. So yeah, that was my build that I played at this OTS. Again, I was able to take first place. It was definitely a really good event, a lot of good competition there, and as well as a lot of good meta decks. So you guys definitely hope you like the deck profile. Again, join me in the comment section below. If you have any questions or concerns regarding the build, we can go ahead and transform it any way that we can to make the deck any better. And yeah, go ahead and check out the combo videos I have as well. I have ones that are relating to the Ophion, the Punk Adventure build, as well as the generic, Phantom Knight lineup. So definitely go check that out as well. But if anything, please like and subscribe and continue to support the channel. I appreciate you guys' love and support.